carried away. But I have to tell you, we've got a great guest on today. She is a influencer, she is a TV host, and she is a hilarious comedian, the triple threat, Heather Gardner.
I was going to say, keep going. Want me to dance? Want me to do this? Like, let's go.
She will even dance for quarters for you.
That's the moment I get canceled. Is when I try to dance. Putting the entire dancing community to shame.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
Jesus.
Well, I mean, Swifties, they love to dance.
Badly.
Oh
my gosh. I was at that concert and I was 100%. This is my, okay, I'm in a chair, but like, literally, this is like all I can do.
Aww.
Like, and if I throw in a raise in the roof, like, that's about it.
All right, now let me ask you this question. Now, are you a football fan now? Have you gotten into it because of the whole Swift situation?
I've already gotten into football because I am married to why did I have to marry a professional sports person? Like, see, why? He doesn't play sports. He talks about. He's a podcast producer for very well-known brands like Fox Sports, like, that kind of stuff. So I have been involved.
Yeah.
Like, I have been around football for too freaking long.
Yeah.
Plus, I grew up in the South.
But are you watching it?
Yeah, I watch it. Here's the thing. I watch it and I do enjoy it. I just don't let it ruin my day. Like, if my team loses, I'm like, that was sad. Moving on now. My husband.
Okay, I have to tell you, I'm a hardcore Ravens fan. Okay, we lost in the AFC Championship last week. I'm still recovering.
I've got a Ravens story about when you beat my team, the Broncos.
Oh, we did,
and that almost caused a divorce in my house.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's how hardcore we are.
I know, and I don't understand.
No, I understand completely.
Is it like the thrill of watching people try to win a game? Like,
it's thrilling to watch. I just don't understand how it can ruin your whole life.
Let me explain something as a sports fan. Okay,
he's too serious.
Let me break it down for you. Break it down.
Please mansplain sports to me, please.
Yeah. Let me tell you how this. We like to have a little sweat going on as a sports fan. No, when I say sweat, we're not sweating, Lena. I'm not sweating out my toxins. Well, we want to get a little, like, we play fantasy football, we bet on sports. We like to have a little skin in the game. You know what I mean? So we like to be a little moist. Yeah, a little moist fandom.
This became so sexual so fast.
Yeah, this is like,
all of a sudden I understand.
Yeah, why is this a sports kink podcast now? I don't understand. So anyway, yeah, we like that, and I can tell your husband's the same way. He likes to have 100%. Skin in the game.
Oh yeah,
he wants to sweat it out, and he's ride or die with his team, and that happens to be the Broncos.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So that's how we're at the Ravens, and but now the whole Swiftie thing. I have to tell you, I've seen your commentary on it. I do appreciate it. Okay.
And he's like, but I don't like it.
No.
Wait, did you post about how a dad needed to connect with his?
He needed football to connect with his daughters.
That's hilarious.
I was like, wow, being blood related is not enough.
And I want to tell you something too. Just for you today, I'm wearing not a black shirt because I always wear a black shirt today. And last night, my amazing co-host says to me,
please don't bring
another black shirt. We're having the amazing Heather Gardner on today. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna.
You got a whole new wardrobe. I see.
I want to create some shockwaves through the studio today. So.
Oh wow, we're all kind of creating our own little shock. I love this.
I also just love it that it's always the woman's responsibility to make sure that the man looks presentable. Yeah. I've been married 14 years. I swear.
I thought you say 14 times.
14 times. No, actually, no. I've been with him for 14 years. Married 9. Okay. I get confused. It's been too long.
That's amazing.
I'm pretty sure he has never bought his own clothes because before he met me, it was his mother, and then I essentially became his mother. And I just we went out to dinner the other night, and he comes out, and I'm like, absolutely not. And I went back in, and I was like, and this, and this, and this, and he got complimented, and he's over there like, yeah, thanks so much. I'm like, that was me. And this was her.
Lena is
people thought he was security, like for
Who's the man in black? Is that Johnny Cash? Johnny Cash ended up.
I'm the comedy man in black. You know what I mean? But no, Lena is my comedy wife, so that is her duty to make sure that
my duty.
Oh yeah, both of our eyes were like, wait Wait a minute.
No.
I wish I'd known all these duties before I got married.
No, she keeps me in check. I'll tell you that. So.
I brought up fashion also because me and you are huge thrifters. We were just going over like
each
all
other.
All of this thrifted.
Yep. All of this thrifted.
We're like, and this looks amazing. We're just like obsessed with it in a way that is.
It's not healthy.
Disgusting.
It's definitely not good. Although I feel like it is on some level because I could just go to name any place and like rack up bills that way.
One shirt $100. I literally have a shopping spree at a thrift every.
And it's like $50. And my husband can't even complain. And I got this on Poshmark. I love reselling sites.
Oh, I love
and then
that.
I get tired of things and then I resell them and then I use that money and go to the thrift.
It's so smart.
Fantastic.
Guys.
Well, I just want to segue a little bit from our fashion segment of the program. And I wanted to talk a little bit about comedy here.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's
You
important.
I know he's like fashion. We just spent 20 minutes on football. We say one thing about fashion. He's like, let's
we
shut it
cover
down.
everything here. Okay. Okay. We cover everything. You have such an interesting background. Okay,
I do.
You were a TV host. You're heavily involved in the political arena. You're a comedian. Where did the inspiration for comedy come from?
Well, first get us started on how you started in commentary. Because let's back us up to...
So the year was 1988. No, my career has taken quite the journey. I'll start I've always wanted to be in front of people, period. I grew up singing in the South. I did competitions, talent shows, and I tried out for American Idol. All that stuff.
How was that?
I'm not Carrie Underwood, okay? Reality hit me hard on that one. But I just knew that I wanted to be in front of people, and so that's why I started journalism. I have a traditional journalism background, a traditional journalism education through the University of Florida. I don't like to say Florida too loud these days, but here we are.
Well, Florida's a great place, very warm and humid. You know what I mean?
They're interesting.
If we're gonna stick with the weather, that's one thing.
Notice that's all I said about it.
Exactly. No, but anyway, and so I thought I wanted to do traditional news, news broadcasting, and very quickly I also realized that was not for me because my news director a million years ago was like, Heather, you can't smile when you're talking about murders. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna need to do something that's a little less serious, and that's how I got into entertainment and loved that, absolutely loved that. Had a whole career working for amazing companies like HuffPost and Entertainment Weekly, radio. I started out in Indiana doing radio broadcasts, that kind of stuff. And then everything changed, and that was Donald Trump running for president. And the only reason I was even interested, because I had never really been involved in politics or interested in it. I showed up my 4 years, did my duty without reading anything, and just kind of, going through the motions, and that was it.
So were you going back 2016?
2015.
2015.
I can't, the image of him coming down that golden staircase when he announced that he was running for president a full freaking year before, the election. That was the moment that everything changed in my life and career, because at the time he was just a celebrity.
People forget.
Running for president. And I remember my bosses at the time, I worked for a company that no longer exists called Holly Scoop. And I
remember Holly Scoop.
Yeah, I did the general news that day, and I did 15 stories a day, so it was kind of just buried within the stories of the day, and the numbers immediately just soared. They pulled me into a room, and they're like, "Whatever he does, you cover it."
I'm sure.
And so then once I saw, I could never unsee, and so a whole year of just covering him and the craziness, and then when he won the election, I have a video. I should send it to you guys. I have a video of me the day after the election. It was 6 a.m. I'm my eyes are bloodshot because I was crying all night long on my hopes and dreams of Hillary Clinton as our first woman president out the window. And I'm like, and the president is Donald? And I'm just cracking up. I ruined every shot, just unable to make a straight face.
Well, I wasn't going to tell you this, but I have to tell you, I'm very happy. Very happy you're on the podcast today. Big deal, frankly. I like you a lot. I like you a lot.
Many people are saying.
Yeah, many people are saying.
I love how Heather can't even look at you at this moment.
She can't look at me.
I cannot.
She can't look at me for the rest of the podcast. It's a great to have her on. I hope she doesn't hate me, but maybe she'll like me after. Anyway, so tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, that was the moment that everything in my whole life changed. And it's so funny. Like, I'm very, very outspoken on social media. And I feel like that's like kind of new in my life and career, but not really.
Love it.
Because down like 10 years ago, God, we're old. I'm old. 10 years ago when all this started, my first iteration of that was just Facebook, arguing with my uncles.
Yeah.
And random people from high school.
That's a great Argue with My Uncle sounds like a great podcast.
That would
That
would cause a few murders in my family, I think. I don't think that's worth it. No, but that's kind of where it started. And I just started speaking out more and more and more and learning so much more. And I started watching like late night television in a different way. Obviously, I'd seen like the Jimmys, you know, that kind of stuff. But like John Oliver's Last Week Tonight and The Daily Show, and like just really becoming inspired by that.
Their
and
takes on it.
Their takes on it, and the way that I learned so much through comedy. And I don't know, it didn't click for a few more years that like that's what I want to do. But that was like the beginning of this like new phase of my career. Basically not shutting up.
I love it.
Which was really difficult to do because you work for big companies and all they want you to do is shut up.
Just shut up.
My mouth got me in so much trouble. And I was like, but you hired me as a television host and now I can't say anything.
Yeah.
It's funny, and my wife tells me that all the time too, but you know, she's not my boss, I don't think. Well, it depends who you ask.
She is. Yeah. So that's kind of how it all started.
I love that because you're being really specific in what type of comedy you want to do too, and you have it in your head.
Oh yeah,
like
it's all there.
This is where my trajectory wants to go, and this is what I'm aiming for, and that's so amazing, especially starting out. Because how long have you been doing like stand up?
Not that long, less than a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is like also crazy too, because like I had always such a great admiration for stand up, but I kind of thought I didn't have to do it, if that makes sense. Because I'm like, I was like, I'm already like a comedian. Like I've produced like at this point like 600 videos. Like people get it. Like I'm a comedian, like all this stuff. But then I just realized that like people aren't getting it, and I mean by people I mean the overlords of the industry who do not understand the changing landscape of the industry.
They're antiquated in a way. It's like bringing people up.
Because I've had a show that I've been trying to get off the ground for a long time, and the feedback that we got was that she's not a comedian. I was like, how am I? How?
Well, in which way?
How?
Like,
because they literally didn't see me standing on a stage being a comedian.
I think that needs to be talked about, and that's interesting you brought that up, because I saw an actress who I didn't know was a comedian, but she says, I'm a comedian. That's her first thing when she said, I was like, oh, so we need to, that's an open thing. Like, you're a comedian if you do comedy.
But it's also like a changing landscape of the industry as well, because like it used to be, not even that long ago, I mean, TikTok is really only like 4 or 5 years old, and
that's
like
the crazy thing
that it's so crazy to me.
But
like how many of these people that I am so entertained by that I laugh along with, that have millions and millions of followers, but are just TikTokers. They're not in entertainment. They're not in the industry. They're not comedians. They're not actors. Even though they're producing their own stuff, have arguably more credits and everything than what we consider traditional entertainers. And so I think it's a changing landscape. I've talked to a lot of like TikTokers who are trying to make it in this industry who aren't being taken seriously, and I certainly wasn't.
It happens a lot, and I tell you, the clubs a lot of times now, they're looking to see how many butts can you get in the seats. So they'll look at your TikTok account, the bookers will look at your Instagram account, and then what happens is you bring that person to the club, and guess what?
Nobody shows up. Yeah, I'm having that problem right now too. I'm like, where are you at? I got 500,000 followers.
Yeah, and that's what happens, because you're as seasoned as you are, you're a rookie in comedy, and but really all you need to do is just go up onto a stage and hold a mic there, and everyone's going to think you're a comedian. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, that's kind of how it happened. I rage got into stand-up comedy, like because of the feedback. Like one, I'm a woman, and I was told that political comedy is really difficult for women, and it's so hard, and that I wasn't like a traditional comedian. comedian, and like, sure, like these big studios and the big gatekeepers of the industry want to see a comedian. So I'm like, fine, I will be a comedian and I will prove that I can.
So they wanted you to prove that you had what it takes to get up on stage.
Yeah.
And that.
Or at least I thought so. I mean, I don't know. They didn't tell me directly, but that's what I took from it. I was like, oh, you say, I'm not this? Okay, fine. I will be that.
Do you have a lot of backlash with some of your political commentary on being a comedian and the crossover?
Yes and no. I feel like on the stage it's a lot nicer than on the internet, which is that, do you guys find that too?
People are emboldened when they are sitting behind their computers.
They don't see you.
You can't get slapped in the face.
Exactly.
Exactly. There's a difference between being a keyboard warrior and a heckler.
Yes, 100%. One is way more public.
Yeah, and keyboard warriors are in their parents' basement just shelling out, incels just shelling out hate. Hecklers, you have the opportunity to get into it.
You get personal.
Yeah.
They have to look you in your eye.
Exactly. And it's in front of other people. Yeah. It's like, how much of a dick are you going to be? We could play this game. Let's go. No, but it's funny because like what I said, like I have 500,000 followers and I can't get people, to come to shows. It's mostly just like my family and friends now. But I think people are confused. Like my audience is confused in the same way that the industry was confused, just for the opposite reason. Like I post stand-up stuff, they don't get it. I lose followers every single time.
Are you serious? Like, is it the content of what your stand-up is talking about, or just the fact that it's a stand-up video?
Both, I think. I just think they're not used to seeing me in that way. And I like, now that I'm doing stand-up and I also write for my, my content and like all this stuff, it's two vastly different things. And I haven't like figured that out yet. I'm in a learning process myself on how to like bridge that gap. Because like what I talk about on the internet, I talk about housing prices and I talk about like the expense of raising children. I talk about that on stage too in a completely different way.
Right, it's how you structure your bit.
Exactly. And it's not the same. I don't know, like I don't ever think that I thought that it would be the same, but I am finding it much more challenging to marry the two. And I just think my audience is a little like, are
they a more conservative audience? And now that you're doing not conservative.
She has a very liberal audience.
Not conservative in that way, but like they want to just hear like news stuff, and they don't want you to be funny about it.
I don't know. I mean, they always want me to be funny.
What is it then?
I don't know.
You gotta figure this out.
I just want you to love me. Come on.
That's interesting though.
They like me. They really like me.
They really do.
Because you're being yourself in your videos. You're being yourself on stage.
One thing that I will say is that comedy, and maybe I didn't know this when I first like saw what is doing it, first got into it, is like it's a lot more personal than I thought.
Oh yeah.
And you talk about your life and your marriage and all these different things, and I don't talk about that. I hardly talk about that, especially in my little videos. We're talking about the issues. You were in and out in a minute, and I'm going to tell you all the reasons why you should be mad at XYZ, but I don't talk about my husband. I don't really get personal about my life. So maybe it's just like they're not used to me talking about my personal life. I don't know. I'm spitballing. I haven't figured it out yet.
Well, I mean, comedy runs deep, you know what I mean? So people want to make that connection, and people want to feel the authenticity, that radiates towards the audience. But you are so specific, like I'm saying, your audience is very liberal, so when you are speaking on your shows and you're performing, are you gearing to that audience? Are you trying to cater to everybody?
I don't get a lot of. I'm not very political in the traditional sense of politics. I don't have any Donald Trump, Joe Biden jokes, although I'm working on it. But I am like that feminist side that you see all over my page. Oh, that comes out. Yeah. Like, because I grew up really, really conservative. And now we'll just get into my tight 10. I was like, that's the beginning of my set. I grew up very Christian, very conservative. No. So in talking about that way and talking, because the way that I grew up and the way that I'm acting now is like completely separate. Yep. And so when I'm talking about my personal life and my background and where I came from, of course it comes out. Because I was supposed to just marry a pastor and have a few babies and live a very like traditional American life, and I'm not doing that. And so of course I talk about that. So that in that way it's political. It's hard for me to say. I've had this comment before that someone was like, why is she talking like stick to politics? I don't want to hear about your feminism. I'm like, I'm like, I don't want to hear about your life. And I literally commented back and I was like, the fact that you think that like women doing things outside of the norm is not political is where we're at right now. So in that sense, like the traditional politics versus just like my feminist side, I don't know. I'm going to do a show one day called It's All Connected. And
it is all connected. Like for someone to follow you and know that this is your page where you are showcasing who you are, you can talk about anything you want.
Yeah.
Don't follow if you don't want to hear all of the stuff that you want to talk about.
Exactly.
Like, you're not a one-dimensional person.
But it's so funny too because they expect us to be. I don't mean the audience, but I mean like the industry and like even when you said she's a TV host, she's this, and it's like great, she's all those things, but who are you really? Yeah. They want us to be everything, but keep it scary. Keep it tight.
Well, the real Heather Gardner, please stand up.
Yeah.
I can't.
No, it's an outspoken woman who knows who she is, and that scares the freak out of people.
Good.
It does. And I think your audience is going to catch up with you, though. You might lose people, but you're going to gain.
I think so too. And it's just like a lot of. I mean, I've had how long have we had Instagram now? Like, I mean, 20 years. I don't even know.
You know, but the crazy thing, the internet's not even that old.
Yeah, I was like, how long was it?
It's been too long.
I mean, I remember when like growing up, my friends like, hey man, check this out. This ICQ or CompuServe. There's a chat room, and so I'm talking to somebody from Canada right now, and I'm like, yeah. I know my friend sounds like like Poindexter here,
a
but
little dweeb.
Yeah. Hey man, check this out. This is really cool. It's called the internet. It has a 56K modem, and dial up. You know what I mean? So
I don't know. It's a weird. The internet is such a weird place, and I think in my career, because I also came up in a time where like that it didn't exist. Like Twitter, Facebook was like my senior year of high school, and I went all through college without Instagram, and I got a full education that I didn't need, like for an industry that now doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like it's frustrating, and I did the very traditional like thing you're supposed to do, and now all of a sudden I'm 15 years into a career and I'm trying to find my place.
Well, because you're an artist and you're going to evolve and you're going to change, and I think that's important for you 100%. To do that regardless of what feedback you're getting. I think it's important now that as artists, and that's what comedians are, that's what singers, we're all in this pot of being artists, we still stand on we're going to do what is authentic for us and not let feedback that is outside, interrupt that or disrupt that.
And there's quite a few TV hosts and journalists, broadcasters who have switched to comedy.
Yeah.
Eunice Elliott.
So many.
Is somebody
people I didn't even know. I was like,
I read it was both unsettling and also empowering article last year in the not the New York Times, the LA Times, and it was like the year of DIY comedy. If you haven't read it, read it. It's very much like LA centric, and it's very much like what has kind of spurred this like resurgence of comedy in like a new way. One, because we are artists, and two, because we have so many ways to get our art out. Yeah. It's not like, again, like the gatekeepers are there and they're pulling the strings, but at the same time, you got a phone, you got a way to put out a special.
They're not. You don't. They are there, but there's ways around it, and I think people forget. And I harp on this a lot. Comedy is the newest of the art forms.
Yeah,
music was around, acting was around. This is the newest of it. It can change. It should be evolving. It should allow for it to grow. So to me, I'm like, what is this hesitation? I'm excited when I see like comics or comedians who are coming out and just doing crazy stuff that is interesting and impacts you in a way emotionally.
But there was there was a time like in the 80s and the 90s where not that I remember these, my friend told me, but where the way you made it was getting into the clubs,
right,
and building your fan base that way, and to see those laugh out loud moments from somebody who's like, holy shit, that person's amazing. You couldn't see that. That was like maybe you could see it on a late night set here and there, right? But you're not going to see that on there's no internet, right? So so now as things have progressed so much technologically over the years, now we have the ability to release comedy and give people the instant gratification that they're looking for, but it's made it way more saturated, way more competitive, and you have the opportunity, like you said, to really climb the mountain on your own without anybody holding your hand. You know what I mean? So.
And that is very, very empowering. Like I said, I name dropped a few of the places that I've worked for and had a really good experience with them. I'll tell you, I've never been happier doing it myself and not having a person telling me what I can and can't say. There's a flip side to that. I've never made less money.
Oh yeah,
I've never been so worried about my rent.
Isn't that amazing?
Road.
We love doing something that we get paid so little. to do, but yet we keep coming back because I always say it's like the most awakening drug that you've ever taken, and it's like, oh my god, I've taken this and I can't stop taking the pill.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I know I got into comedy because out of a selfish need to emote and get shit off of my chest.
I mean, that's how I started doing. That's how I became an influencer. Was during 2020, as I'm screaming at the television because we're locked in our houses. We can talk about, y'all know Quibi. We can talk about Quibi for a second if y'all want to.
Y'all want to talk about Quibi?
Well, I had a show on Quibi.
I just talked about Quibi. I was like, what happened? Like, they were there, then they were gone.
So much happened. Yeah. I mean, the pandemic, that's my personal opinion on what happened to Quibi, but like how it affected my life. I had my own show. And again, like I was like the TV host, like everything that I had ever like dreamed of having after 10 years of grinding, sacrificing my 20s, moving away from home, not doing the traditional thing. Like I finally, we climbed the mountain, we were there, and then it's like, blew up. But at that time, I still had my Quibi job, and we were broadcasting it in my house in a set kind of like this that we recreated in my 600 square foot apartment in Venice. 2 weeks after we moved in, I had a set in my house before I had a couch because we had just moved back from New York.
You're pretty much living in your set.
I was living in my set. I will show you the pictures. They're wild. It still stresses me out to this day. but you know, this was a time when the world was falling apart. My job and my career was falling apart before my eyes. I'm screaming at the television, and finally one day, my husband, I'm so blessed to be married to a producer who had never produced me. By the way, we had very just parallel careers. I was doing my thing, he was doing his thing, and then we got locked in a house together.
Oh, that will speed things up quite a bit. Yeah,
I know. And he's like, "Babe, we have so much equipment. Like, why don't we just turn on the camera?"
Yeah,
and that's how I became an influencer. Was I just spouted off some stuff, and
you're lucky because for a lot of people that's how their OnlyFans start.
Yeah.
So for you, it's like a regular TV show. Yeah.
You know what? I would have made a lot more money on OnlyFans if I could go back.
This OnlyFans stuff.
Oh, I've thought about it.
I think we all have.
am not even mostly Feet Finder because I was like, okay, my face isn't in there. I don't have to
I think all comedians have looked into this.
ASMR.
Yeah.
ASMR.
Not me, my friend. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The feet pic thing is great though because you really don't see.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I
said to my wife, she's like, nobody wants to see your goddamn toes.
I don't know who it is.
I need to meet one guy who's actually in because there's such a need for it, and I haven't met one person who's into that.
I was weirded out by it, but then I realized that someone has been taking my photos off Instagram and I already have a Wiki Feet page.
What? Really?
I didn't create it.
Wait, someone's been photoshopping your feet?
No. They've just been stealing anytime you can see my feet in an Instagram post, they grab it and they put it on this page. I've got a 4.9 rating, okay?
Where's that passive income?
He's like, where can I
I
find this?
you've seen these photos, why couldn't you just use my face, my body? You got my feet up there,
I literally was researching a bit. I was researching a bit, and then I discovered that I had a Wiki Feet page.
That's amazing.
I was like, Lauren, did you do this?
How many barefoot pictures do you have posted?
Yeah, right.
Well, also just in sandals or heels where you could just see my toes. The first thing, I swear to God, the first thing my husband says, I'm showing this to him, I'm shocked. He goes, where's the check? How can we monetize off?
Right, you're like, honey, my feet are all over the net. I'm so sorry. He's like, that's great. Where's the money coming in, baby?
I'm so violated.
What if he's going around watching it while you're not?
That's what I'm saying. What if it was him? What if it was my husband this whole time?
Baby, I didn't want to tell you, but I'm really into your feet.
So is that okay? So besides Feet Finder being your side hustle,
I wish.
What else is going on in your life that you're bringing in money while you're on this comedy journey?
Oh, you know what? I have been holding on to this secret, but I'll just let it fly. I don't care. I wait tables.
Oh wow,
that's amazing.
How do you have time?
It's not amazing. It sucks.
No, it's so, that's awesome that you do it.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you how I find the time. Okay. Every month there's this thing called rent, and I have to pay it. And lo and behold, the timing fine. I figure out a way to make money. No, but it's that. Let's go back a little bit because I do think it is important to talk about this, and I have been gatekeeping. I have been gatekeeping this story for a very long time, and then maybe I'll get emotional.
No.
Because I've never talked about this publicly. But what happened after Quibi is, Quibi died, and I lost what I thought was my job. I never actually thought now 4 years later that it would be like, I can look back and be like, I lost my career is what happened. Because like you
didn't lose it. It kind of it's segued.
It's segued. Yeah. But like now when I think about it, that's kind of where I'm at. And it was the end of 2020, and I was like, okay, well, the world's coming back or whatever. The industry did not come back in 2021. Yeah. And I spent a whole year at home. I did continue to do my content, created my own little late night show that I did in my house, like really grew and grew and grew, but my savings shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. Yeah. Because also at the time, like, waiting tables wasn't an option. Everything was still closed. There were no auditions. I had plenty of meetings with tons of companies who we'd get to the finish line of a show and then they'd be like, oh, there's a new variant, we're not coming back, like, and that happened for a whole year. And then by the end of 2021, I mean, we were broke. Like just all of our life savings, all of the like dreams of like that traditional stuff like that we talk about, that I still talk about, you sacrifice, you work, you get to a point, and then you can like maybe buy a house, maybe have some kids. I was there. Yeah. I had it. And then within 1 year, it was all gone. We were 1 month away from being homeless, having to move back in with one of our parents, one of our siblings, leaving California, and we sat down, smoked a few cigarettes, had a few bottles of wine, and we're like,
it helps.
And then my husband and I, because he was also unemployed too, because hindsight was 2020. He left his job in New York to move back for my Quibi job at 2 weeks before. They're like, no, remote work is not an option. 2 weeks later it was, but he had already quit. So anyway, so we just kind of had a heart to heart, like, what do we want to do? Like, do we want to? Is it time to like pack it up and go home? And I was like, we both said nope. So the very next day, we both went and got serving jobs. Wow. And we've been doing that for the last, what month is it? What year is it? 2 years? Almost?
Yeah. Do we even know what year it is?
Do we even know what year it is?
No, but
2 years. And I haven't talked about it. Yeah. I was advised not to talk about it because they're like, oh, you lose your leverage. I'm like,
oh, come on.
What leverage?
But it's so real, especially when you are making your own stuff. Right. That takes money. It's an investment.
And people see this. Like, people see the sets and people see let's be real, what you want them to see. Yeah. And they think you're killing it. I can't tell you how many people that I have been handing them their food and being like, you are killing it. And I'm like, really? So you want fries with that?
But Heather, that's an amazing bit. That is amazing. That'd be hilarious to talk about. And
so honest is so
real, so pure. Okay, like, you're not alone.
Yeah, exactly. I know. But I don't think. But I know we don't talk about it because I'm in these circles and I know everyone is just puts their face on. I have so many things going on, and that's true. We always have so many things going on, but we also have to find the time to set aside to fund the things that we have going on. And I don't think people talk about that.
That's not a conversation.
We don't have it. We just don't have that conversation. And frankly, I'm a bit tired of it, to be honest.
It's we are all kind of in this circle of network of comics, and we're 6 degrees away from somebody else who knows you somebody. And I can guarantee you, everybody within the 6 degrees has a story of how they were up, they were down, they were up, and they were down. And the thing about this industry is, when you're independent and you're going on your own and you're trying to create your own destiny, no one's paying you a salary every single okay. No one's paying you a salary, and people don't understand what it really takes and the sacrifices you have to do. I have a 10-month-old son. Okay, if I were to tell you, I have a podcast, I'm a comic, I go on the road, but guess what? I am not a millionaire.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not even a thousandaire. Okay, so how about that? And I can tell you, like you, I had a lot of money at one time, in savings, and that tripled up too, for a period of time. So and I've done jobs where I've had to go and take other side gigs and do whatever. You have to do what you got to do. But you know what I mean? We're fueled by our destiny. So you keep going, and mad respect for
the
talking about this on the
transparency
podcast.
is so important because it makes people feel like, oh, I can still work and support myself and go after my dreams. And when you're told a lot of times, quit your job.
So it's just so easy to quit your job.
Yeah, but a rich parents or something.
Right.
But
I will say, my life hack is actually being married because I got someone to split my rent with, and actually another server who's in the industry as well. He asked me one day. He was like, "How are you doing it?" Because we were both working 5 nights a week, and we're just like burnt out, going to auditions and all these things, and he's like, "How do you do it? I don't understand." And I was like, "Well, I do share a bed with someone." So that is helpful.
Yes, it is helpful.
One less bed to feed.
But you talk about the marriage aspect of being in entertainment, being a comic. It's to have the support of your spouse or your partner is a huge thing.
Send this one out, guys. Single loser.
But also, a lot of people talk. I know there's that famous quote that's like, behind every strong man is an even stronger woman, or something like that.
Amen to that.
But like, dude, I gotta give a shout out to my husband who, and I need to rephrase this. I said the other day, he lets me. He don't let me do anything, but he is along for the ride, and he is cheering me on, and he is supporting me. And like, what you see me on the camera. You don't know how many script revisions like he helped me with. Yeah. You don't know that we spent a Saturday hanging a green screen. You don't know all the stuff. And finally, like, there is like a silver lining and a happy ending to this story, at least for one of us. After 3 years of being unemployed, poof, his dream job fell out of the sky.
See?
And we cried so many tears and like the day that he got to quit the restaurant, and I'm just like, yes. Wow. So, but he's working like 3 jobs now. Like, he's doing his like day job and then spending time with me like in the evening, either writing comedy bits or writing scripts for us to post. He's making graphics, he's sourcing, he's an audio engineer, like he's helping me pick mics out. Like, I got a strong man behind me, and I'm not saying that he's like it's not my success is not because of him, but like, damn, like the partnership is real.
Oh yeah,
and there needs to be more men like that. They're cheering their partners
and not afraid to see you climb, even if you surpass him. It's like, go baby, surpass.
Correct. Yeah. And I think he understands we'd never signed a prenup, so
guess what?
So he's like, go baby, go.
Get half of it.
Yeah. Guess what? I didn't either. I'm sorry, Dad. I cried.
Is that still a thing?
Prenups?
Oh, yeah. You're a celebrity.
Yeah. I actually did a whole segment on this years ago about how it's more common now. First of all, because women are kicking ass.
Women are kicking ass.
We want to protect what's ours, baby.
Yeah. And your husband sounds great, besides the fact he's a Broncos fan. But other than that,
I also agree.
it is true. And listen, if my wife was crushing it right now and making more than me, great. We've got a kid. We got to do what we got to do, and it doesn't matter. There's no ego. We're a team. You know what I mean? So, but luckily, I am married to a therapist. So for a comic, I highly recommend it.
You can save so much money.
I know. Well, a lot of comic comedians don't go to therapy. I'm like, what the heck?
My therapist broke up with me.
Oh,
no. Like, she was like, I just feel like you don't need me anymore. I'm like, so I'm healed. I was like, I'm healed. Like, and my husband was like, no, definitely not. He's like, after 1 week, he's like, so when are you gonna go back?
I'm looking for one right now.
That's so fun. What's your favorite club in Los Angeles?
My favorite club to play?
Yeah.
I was just at the Ice House in Pasadena.
Oh yeah, they redid it.
Oh my God, it is lovely. It's so great. I played there once, and that was wonderful. But I saw Eliza there just this past Friday, and it was like the main room, and It is nice. And
Yeah.
I will say, like, one thing we also don't talk about in the comedy world, but I don't care. I'm new. I'll do it. Going to clubs is expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
the drink minimum?
The drink minimum. You go to support your friend. That's $100.
Girl, I got a joke about that.
Yes.
I tell them I'm a recovering alcoholic. I can't do the drinks, y'all.
What Heather's referencing right now are called bringer shows.
Yep. Or just in general.
In general, when you're going yourself, you're like, it's expensive. You got to pay for the ticket. Sometimes they let you in as a comedian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and your friends get really annoyed and tired of you over time.
Yes, they do. No, but I like it because it's in Pasadena, so the prices are a little bit better. The food is good. Like, I actually really love Ice House.
Yeah, Ice House is beautiful. I've done a few shows.
What comedians influence you, like, in your comedy and stuff, besides like the political ones that you?
Well, definitely Eliza.
Yeah.
I have been following her for I don't even know how many years at this point. I've seen her a few times this year. And first of all, she is, I don't know how many months pregnant, 27 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And she was on the floor, like still, like literally 2 days ago, just like ready to pop and just going through it. And I love that dedication. I love that dedication. And I also love the stuff that she talks about too. And it's not overtly political, but it's like, you know, she talks about being pregnant and how people treat her differently than her husband. It doesn't even come across as feminist, even though it is. Like, it's just, I love how she just puts like a quarter twist on on like the relationships between men and women, and so good. And if I could ever get to a point where I can just rattle off like all these things, like she had this one bit, she was just, I mean, I think she was probably just testing out punchlines, but I'm not kidding, she went for 2 minutes just like bam 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 bam.
She's rapid fire.
And I love that style. I really do. Not that there's anything wrong with like set up punchline. I just feel like that's not me, and
your
I
style's
enjoy
more alt, like your storytelling and your.
I do a lot of storytelling. Let's see, who else do I really like right now? Leslie Liao, I'm seeing on Tuesday, and or Monday, one of those days, and I'm so excited.
Leslie's great.
I just like her rise, like someone who's like just believed in herself and was dedicated to her craft. Exactly.
You know, Leslie's interesting. I'm an alumni of this. It's called stand-up comedy class by Jerry Katzman, who teaches.
Same.
Oh, well,
wait a minute.
I got it.
Yes, amazing. All right, so you, of course, we talk about Leslie Liao. What a great alumni! I'm actually going on the. I've been on the road with Heather Pasternak.
Heather.
We did Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, and then myself and Heather are doing Magoobies in Baltimore, and
nice.
And then Janelle Draper, who's another alum, she and I have done some shows together. And Lena,
I didn't know Janelle was doing.
Yeah, Lena's going on the road with me. We're going to do Texas with Janelle. So you know, our alumni group is amazing.
Yeah,
and we all kind of look out for each other. And and now that I know. Let me tell you something.
Am I getting initiated right now? Do I get like a pin?
Yeah. We look out for alums on this podcast. All right. So no, that's very cool.
I will say one thing about this comedy world that has been so new to me is like the community. Yeah. And I have been in this industry for a minute, too long. But I have been in like different facets of it, where it was like the red carpet reporters, the hosts, whatever. Now I'm in like this comic space. No one has been more supportive than the comic space.
Oh, really?
100%.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a sign of maybe you have a different view on it.
I found
Lena's like, oh well, that's great that you feel that way.
It does go up and down.
Especially when you're hitting mics daily, you see,
oh my God.
You see the clicks. Yep. You see the clicks that don't want you part of it, and
I just barge in. I'm here.
I don't need to be part of that. I never force. I'm like, well, it's fine. There's good people on this side. Like I'm there where the good energy is. If that's your energy, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I'm going over there.
I don't know. I found it very supportive. Maybe I'm just not at your level yet. Where like people are walking.
No, I think
Lena walks in the room. Everyone's just like, oh my God,
there's Lena.
We're not worthy.
Exactly.
No. I have found support. Like, okay, let me clarify. I have found support. There are just a lot of meanness that I've even talked to a comedian yesterday about this. I was like, I don't know where that comes from when our job is to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Where is that nastiness coming from? I don't understand.
I know where it's coming from. Shh. Cover your ears.
Earmuffs?
They're coming from the men.
I don't want to just because I've met some lovely men.
I have met some lovely men.
I've met some lovely men.
And I've met some.
I gotta go.
Like, because I think there's like there's a anger or bitterness or something with some, not a lot.
It's not all of it. It's definitely we are not
at all. But there, and I've had to say on several occasions, what the fuck is wrong with you, and where is this coming from? Because I haven't given you shit. Mm-hmm. So you don't need to bring that my way or at anybody in here, because I host mics, and I've had to say, like, we don't need that.
Yeah.
We're over here trying material to take to shows. We don't need your negative. People have been kicked out of mics. And like, what is this?
Have you ever seen a woman get kicked out?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? I haven't. That's usually the men.
But it was actually a weird thing because a man had tried to heckle her on stage, and she clapped back, and he got angry because she got in that ass, and he didn't like that. He was embarrassed, and so he tried.
And she had to leave.
Yeah.
Lena's like, she got an ass.
They tried to get her kicked out, but everybody, even in all the comics, were like, "That's not fair." She was just.
So I feel like that's an asterisk. That was the man.
Or it could have been, maybe it could have been, identified as something, and we don't know.
It's true. It's so true.
Not doing.
You never know these days.
The woke police has entered the chat.
I need you to sit down.
Well, I have to tell you, no, just kidding.
He blames it on his Donald Trump.
Well, it's not me. It's not me. It's China.
He's just trying to come out. It was festering inside.
It was how quick he changed it to that to get over.
I cannot believe we're on this podcast right now.
No, but
it's political satire.
It is an interesting
dynamic.
To be a woman, period, is an interesting experience. Yeah. But to do it in such a male-dominated space is very, very interesting.
Super impressive. What's your outlook on comedy? Where do you want to go with it?
What's next?
What's next?
Okay, let's start at the top. You said it. I got a vision. I got places to be. I got places to go. I'm going to start at the top. I want to host a late night show. I want to do it. I want it. I am super freaking proud of Taylor Tomlinson for being the only woman.
You got a little bit of that in you, little Taylor Tomlinson.
A little bit. Yeah. I do like After Midnights. But I skew like more political. Like I want to host like a John Oliver Last Week Tonight kind of daily show. If I could host a daily show anytime you want to call.
If you did like your own late night show, would you have conservative guests on there?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
You want to mix. You don't ever want to shut a group out just because y'all don't have the same idea.
I was just curious. 100%. I was just curious because I know your stance, and I was just curious,
I mean, the show that I'm pitching now that I'm working on that I can't talk too much about is very much like out in the world and on all different like areas and stuff, and that is super, super important to me. And I think because I came from the South and I came from a place that's so different from where I am now, I think it is. A lot of the media and not necessarily late night shows, because late night shows serve a certain purpose, but a lot of the media just like puts them in a box. And I think there's a lot.
Late night, it's a little bit more. It's not more open for you to be able to say.
Yeah.
Say
anything. Anything. But I'm just talking about the media in general. Yeah. Just like I don't think they treat any of America's problems like really, really carefully, and I would want to do that, and so I would want to talk to other people, that don't agree with me.
I think that's noble because media is supposed to be fair and unbiased, fair, balance, and what is it, fair, balance, unbiased? But we don't fake news. Yep, but we don't. That doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, and I have a broadcasting background. Went to broadcasting school, and we were always taught that if it bleeds, it leads. That was what we were always taught.
And it's bleeding,
right?
Well, it's interesting to see people who have two different ways of thinking talk. That's freaking
I think that's amazing.
It is. Yeah, that's what I would like to do. Yeah. But yeah, I don't that's like a whole separate thing. But yeah, I want to host a late night show. I think there needs to be more women, in the late night space, period. So that's big.
Is she the only one? Wasn't Chelsea Handler?
Chelsea Handler doesn't have. Ooh, I'm hitting the mic. Chelsea Handler doesn't have one right now. Sam B doesn't have one. She got canceled a couple years ago. Okay. Amber Ruffin does, but it's not on broadcast. It's on Paramount.
Lily
Singh's gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Okay.
All of them are gone. Sarah Silverman had one gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You're next. That's coming up. That's in your future. Speaking of, and then speaking of what's next, leads to our final segment of the day. We have a very important question. Very important question for you, Heather Gardner.
Uh-oh. I'm so scared.
What is your? Well, we gotta get the build up going. No
He's like, hello, I'm watching the clock here.
Yeah. Let me restart that again.
What are you doing?
Heather Gardner.
Yes.
What is your favorite ice cream?
Favorite ice cream?
Did you get her anxiety for nothing?
I know. I was like,
And it was
oh my
amazing.
God,
Yeah.
I've already spilled so many secrets and so many things. Ooh. The thing that's coming to my mind right now is very specific. Carvel vanilla soft serve ice cream in a cone dipped in rainbow sprinkles.
Holy shit! I love you for that. Holy fuck!
What is wrong? Are you okay over here?
No, I'm not. I'm not. No. Yeah. Let me
Do you
explain-
like Carvel?
Let me explain something
Okay,
to you.
okay.
Nobody knows about fucking Carvel.
And it was my first job in high school. Second, I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I grew up
for
on
like
the
a
East
day.
Coast. We had a Carvel ice cream place. We would go to the store. You know, this is why I'm getting excited about it. Yeah. All right, so
watch this.
So and then we would get the cakes. Nothing about the ice cream cakes with like that gooey stuff on it.
Fudgy the
the
whale.
chemicals they would put on it.
So much.
But no one knows.
Okay.
But then I moved out here and nobody knew about Carvels until I went to I would tell my father-in-law, he's Israeli. He's like, what is this Carvel cake always talking about?
That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know.
What is this cake? No. Arnold would be like, what is this cake you're talking about? You know, I'll be back with the cake. So no, but nobody knew about Carvel. And then I brought back. I found a Carvel cake at Ralph's one day. They distribute it out here. I brought it back. My family out here, you know, my in-laws, all they eat is for celebrations Carvel cakes. And let me tell you something. Full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So bless you.
We've connected on so many levels today.
Yeah,
So many.
We are
Carvel, I'm like-
sports. We're talking
Ice cream.
We're alums.
We're like Eskimo brother and sister.
That's right.
Heather's my friend. Okay?
But Lena's like,
We had thrifting. We had thrifting for like 30 seconds before that got shut down.
Well, we had an amazing time with you
this was so fun.
today. I'm
Love
so glad that you
y'all.
came to the studio, and we can't wait to see what's next for you.
Me either. It's a big question mark.
That's where the fun is. That's where the fun is.
We're gonna call it fun. No.